In today's Leeds news, no Easter football, offside changes, Pete Lowy on Leeds, the future and investment, and Beckford scathing VAR criticism. Hey folks, welcome to the Leeds View for Wednesday the 4th of March with your Leeds United news. I'm knackered, I've only got home, we're getting this done, we're getting out of here. We will also have a podcast out tonight as well to look back at the game last night, if it was last night, and then also look ahead to the FA Cup and some of the other talking points that we're going to cover in the news today, specifically Pete Lowy's conversation with BBC around Leeds United and the investment in the football club that's worth getting stuck into. Also, we do have the match reaction from late last night that you can check out. It's fairly honest and direct from me on this one, and I'd love to know your thoughts on the game as well. But it's another one gone. It's an opportunity missed last night by Leeds. I think we can all agree on that. We're now looking ahead to tonight and seeing if we can maybe, hopefully, get a couple of favours to hopefully get away with this and come out the weekend with the exact same gap in place. Fingers crossed we can do that. We are going to do some form of a watch along as well tonight as well. So if you want to let me know down below, if you do come along and join us in the big up watch alongs, what game you'd like to see us cover tonight. I have to fill a gap because I missed the game. So that'll be the one. Let me know what you think. All right, let's move on. Let's start off with the news about no Easter football. Everybody's favourite international organisation, FIFA, have been mucking around with the calendar. And Mike Keegan, in an exclusive in the Daily Mail, has revealed that there will be no Premier League or Championship football next Easter. The piece points that the decision won't be popular with fans. It has been a regular football part of the calendar, although no games on Easter Sunday, but Easter Monday, and there won't be any next year. This is another FIFA idea to increase the popularity, I suppose, or at least the awareness of international football. And FIFA plan to have an international break that encompasses Good Friday and Easter Monday from next year. And the result means that there will be no top flight football over the Easter weekend. This season's international break begins on March 21st and 22nd, but according to the sources as part of this article from Mike Keegan, they say next season it will take in Good Friday, March 26th, and Easter Sunday, March 29th. Fixtures renew with an FA Cup quarter-final on April the 3rd, and Keegan goes on to point out that insiders inside FIFA have told them that domestic football leagues were not even consulted on this decision. FIFA control the footballing calendar, and they've just gone ahead and made these decisions on their own. There is also another change, a planned merged international break, which will see Premier League and Championship games stop and be paused from September 19th until October 10th. Just what everybody wants, a month of international football mid-season. That'll get everybody on side with Infantino, won't it? Good idea. But the only good news to come out of this is, and it's temporary and it's also very situational, is the Boxing Day fixtures will return for next season, and only because Boxing Day falls on a Saturday. So there won't be what we saw last year with the one game on Boxing Day because it was on a Sunday and them not moving the games for the Saturday or the Friday, whichever day it was last year. And Stevens' Day for the lads in Ireland as well. So there you go. Mixed bag there. Let me know your thoughts on this as well. More international football, more international breaks. Is that what you want to see? Because I know the March one with our history terrifies the life out of me. You've got a run into a season. You've got an awful lot of football clubs with their entire seasons now hanging in the balance, and you go into a March break with a few weeks left in the season, and you could come back out of that with key players missing. So it's never been a great one, but yeah, let me know your thoughts on it. Let's move on and talk about Arsene Wenger's offside rule. Talked about this a fair bit since it was first announced, but the introduction of the controversial Arsene Wenger offside rule that requires daylight to be between players to be offside has moved one step closer. The new offside rule has been approved and will be used in the Canadian Premier League on a trial basis. A player will only be offside if he has fully passed the last defender. So they say it won't be decided by a body part, except it will be decided by a body part because the entire person has to be past the last defender. So if your studs, your foot or your ankle or your elbow isn't, they're still going to have to check to see which tiny part of your body hasn't fully passed. So you're not going to be offside by a kneecap anymore like last night, but you're still going to be probably offside by the corner of an ankle or onside by the corner of an ankle. So it kind of just makes the rule the same but slightly different in a different way. But if the trial period with the Canadian Premier League is successful, the plan is to roll this out worldwide for the start of the 2027-2028 campaign. The people I have seen talk about it don't seem in favour of it. There's not a huge amount of conversation around it. There's no people saying this is a great idea, it should happen. There just seems to be, this is a terrible idea, it's going to make the game worse. It does favour the attacking sides, which was something they tried to do a long time ago. Didn't really work. But they are trying to favour the attacking sides. That they think it'll bring more games. Other people argue it will cause more low blocks and deeper lying defences. It might cause more counterattacks as well. But it's it's an interesting one. But I'd love people's thoughts on it. Let's move on. Leeds United's director and investor Pete Lowy has been speaking with BBC's Don't Go to Bed Just Yet podcast, and he covered a huge amount of ground when talking about Leeds United in a very direct and very interesting interview with Adam Pope. Lowy, one of the club's largest investors and a director on the board, has given this as his first real sit-down interview with anybody and some real detail into why he invested in the club, the future plans for Leeds United and everything around Elland Road as well. And his decision to invest in Leeds United, he says, was driven by two main reasons. The first one was that he wanted to see Leeds finally receive the investment that the club of this size deserves. And the second was that he viewed Leeds as the last major undervalued club in English football. Now, Lowy's got a huge amount of affinity for Leeds United. He is a Leeds United supporter after all. He has a long history of supporting the club back to the 60s and 70s. And it's, in one sense, I know not everyone's a fan of the 49ers enterprises. Some are, some aren't. He is a Leeds United fan and he's very much involved in the board and the decisions that get made around Leeds United. But speaking on the Elland Road expansion, firstly on this, Lowy was blunt and said it has to happen now or it will never happen. He said the following: Leeds is ready for it. If we don't get it done this time, it will never happen. People like myself and the capital that we have won't sit around for 10 years because we can invest wherever we choose to invest. The football club is managed properly. The football club has the capital to do the expansion. Lowy went on to explain that the plan is to keep the COP as is and build around it to try and keep hold of what he worded as the hostile environment, but instead of having it with 30,000 people, have it with 50,000 people instead. There was a mention of the South Stand, although that's not on the plans right now, and there is obviously the issue with the road and Peacock behind it as well and what they can do there. They have to work around that one. But he went on to speak about Daniel Farke and the manager's future at the football club. And he was, again, very direct in this and basically said contract talks are not happening, at least for right now. And he said this: we've not yet stayed in the Premier League. We are not yet secured and we're not talking about it. So very clear statement there. We'll talk about your future when the job is done. And right now the job is not done. Depending on how results go tonight, it might get a bit squeakier between now and the next game after Crystal Palace. But Lowy reassured fans and people around Leeds United's football club that the financial situation of the club is in a very healthy position. He said there's no PSR or financial surprises hanging around the corner to come and get us. But he went on to talk about potential summer signings and he wasn't giving a huge amount away. He said right now the plan of the club and the only goal of the club right now is to stay in the Premier League. And we'll talk about the summer transfer window when we have secured that. So again, get the job done and then we'll talk about that. He also wants a tram system to be built in Leeds, which has been spoken about, and he wants it to go directly up to Elland Road, and that will alleviate some of the council's issues and concerns around additional transport requirements in and around Elland Road for match days when 50,000 fans are coming to the game instead of 30,000. But as I say, it's a really good interview. It's very blunt. It's very direct. You would expect nothing else from an Aussie. One of the reasons I like the Australians so much, they're very like the Irish, very direct and very straight. It's a very good interview. It's worth going checking out. It's on BBC Sounds at Don't Go to Bed Just Yet podcast. You go check that out if you want to. Let's move on and talk about Jermaine Beckford's pretty scathing review of VAR last night. Another week and we're talking about VAR yet again and the technology that was brought in to try and improve the game and make it less controversial has become its own absolute distraction from the matches themselves. And we're talking about VAR after a game last night and we should be talking about football. Not that the performance was good last night. It wasn't. But we are still talking about VAR. But from next season, the Premier League want to expand the remit of VAR and want it now to include corner decisions as well as reviewing second yellow cards. And when you take into consideration the stamp last week on Ilya Groove that wasn't reviewed, the handball from the Manchester City player that wasn't looked at, and then Pascal Struijk being wrestled to the ground by his neck by Luke O'Neill last night with no involvement, I think most people, and ones I've seen anyway, would be just happy if it just went away and we got back to actually enjoying football, because it has taken all of the joy out of celebrating moments in matches. But Leeds United striker Jermaine Beckford, working with TNT last night, had a lot of pretty direct stuff to say as well, speaking on the tone of directness. And he didn't hold back afterwards either and described the VAR's reasoning for not getting involved in that decision as embarrassing. Speaking after the game, he spoke to BBC Live and expanded on his thoughts from TNT Sports, and he said the following. They should have been given the penalty. I don't know what happened. You can't blame the referee for missing the incident because during a set piece or a corner, whatever goes on in the penalty box, it's really difficult to keep an eye on. But VAR is where it let itself down. When you watch the first replay back, it's clear something has happened. 09 puts his arms around the neck of Stroke. Clear as day penalty. No VAR check. Then they come out not long after the game and give an embarrassing reason as to why they've missed it. Something about not being clear and obvious. I can't remember the exact wording, but it was really silly. Daniel Farke also spoke about this as well, and he said for him, it wasn't even a decision. It should have been given as a penalty, and doesn't know what VAR were doing. If VAR say that this wasn't a clear and obvious error, it's the most clear and obvious error you're going to see this weekend. 2 hands around the player's neck, dragging him to the ground, and the referee doesn't give a penalty. Therefore, there's a clear and obvious error, and they should have intervened. It's 2 weeks in a row now that Leeds have been shortchanged by VAR and decisions. Then you see the penalty go against us and VAR getting involved in that one. There was also another incident in the game that was missed by a lot of people. And Gabby Goodmunson was grabbed around the waist from another corner and he was pulled to the ground off the ball. But again, nothing done there. And then go back to Man City again last week and Joe Rodon was wrestled to the ground from the waist down and pulled backwards onto the ground in that match. And again, no VAR intervention at all. So what's the point of having it if it's not going to do the part that it's supposed to do? And what's the point in expanding its remit if it can't get this right? The ball is in play so little right now with the amount of time wasting going on. Adding corner checks and second yellow cards in is just going to mean a lot more stoppages. And at this point, a game of football is never going to break out on any match week. But if you want to give your thoughts on this, the FSA, who do the footballing awards, have got a survey out and they're looking for people to give their thoughts, not just on the expansion of VAR, but on its current situation and your enjoyment of games because of VAR. Everything from stadium announcements to decisions being shown on the screen to referees who were announcing the decisions and now aren't announcing the decisions anymore. All of it is included in it. It's if you want to give your thoughts on it and if you've got an opinion, you want to express it, go check that out. Folks, that will be it for me this morning. We will be back tonight with the podcast. And if you want to get involved in the watch-alongs on Big Up, if you want to recommend a game for tonight for us to cover, let me know in the comments down below and we'll get that sorted for tonight. Also, don't forget we have got a partnership with OK Jersey, 8% off with them. If you use the code TView at the checkout, you can get all the latest shirts and tracksuits from kids to men's and women's as well, all across the board. You can check all of that out at okjersey.com. Link down below in the description and in the comments. Folks, that'll be it. Have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you later on. See ya.